Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal, Mr. Butter, coming back at you. I'm shooting this on Saturday. The Cool Gray 6s dropped today, and I reserved a pair at my local Finish Line, so I want to get into them with y'all. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's take a look at these Cool Gray Jordan 6s. I typically don't have too difficult of a time reserving my size whenever these retro Jordans drop at my local Finish Line. However, they only got like 2 adult size pairs in, and I didn't even get EA for them, but I guess some people did because they were already claimed. I did reserve a GS size 7. I got some kids that wear that. Some of my nephews have that size, so I just figured I would go and pick up this pair and then see if they had any adult sizes left over. They didn't have any, but I think that this would be one of those shoes that you end up seeing on the shelves later. I don't know if maybe there was a delay in shipments. I remember the same thing happened with the Midnight Navy 6s, and they, I think, only had one adult size pair the day that they dropped, but then a couple weeks later they ended up having them on the shelves for a long time. So if you didn't get a pair of these, I wouldn't panic and pay over retail. In fact, I think this shoe might be easy to get for some time, not because I don't like it or anything, but it just seems like the market and the hype has really died down a good bit, and I don't think 6s are one of those shoes that people just go crazy for anyway. This being a GS size pair, we just have the typical GS box, black with the gold Jumpman. The tag reads Air Jordan 6 Retro, and this is a size 7Y, which equates to a men's size 7. The colors are white, medium gray, and cool gray. Retail price on the GS sizes was $150. I think adults were $200, but I was able to use status rewards to get $20 off. With tax and everything, I was just below 140 bucks on these. And so here they are, the Air Jordan 6 in the cool gray colorway. And right off the bat, I love cool gray and white, just like on the 11s, just like on just about any Jordan retro silhouette. I think cool gray and white is pretty tough to beat. I really like the Jordan 6 silhouette. It's not my favorite of the Jordan retros, but it's definitely one of those silhouettes that takes me back to being a kid. It makes me think of like the Dream Team era, which is early 90s, of course. I think that was 92. I think these came out in 91 or maybe even 90. I believe it was 91, but anyhow, I think these things are dope. I really think that the materials seem decent at first glance. I did notice, like right off the bat, you can see the left shoe on the back of it. You can see that there's a lot more texture on that leather than what there is on the right shoe. It almost just seems like the leather is pulled tighter on the right shoe, but on the left shoe, it's a little bit more loose. So you see a whole lot more ripples and that kind of thing. But that being said, I think these things look dope. I was wondering where the medium gray is, and I think that for the sock liner and the top of that tongue, I think that's a darker gray color than the cool gray, but altogether it just looks really, really nice. And too, it looks like those painted hits down on the midsole, it looks like they're a darker gray than what we have for the base of the shoe, but I think they look great. I think that I would definitely wear these. I did have the Hair 6s, and they kind of remind me of those, but the Hair 6s had some brighter colors, and I think even the top of the tongue was kind of translucent, and you could see that kind of tribal pattern that we usually get on 7s, I think. But I think these are dope looking. I would wear these in a heartbeat. Do I have to have them? No, not really, but I like a cool gray colorway on just about any Jordan retro. I do think that these will be pretty easy to get in the near future, maybe even for a while, just because I think next Saturday the University Blue 5s are coming, and then I think after that the reimagined Jordan 3s are coming out, the white cement pair, and I definitely want to get both of those pairs, especially those 3s. I struck out on the shock drop. Let me know if any of y'all had any luck on that shock drop, but that is the pair on my radar that I really feel like I have to get that pair. But anyhow, back to these. I think they look good. I think they look really cool. They definitely have that retro flair. I like those spoilers in the back that were inspired by his car. I think his Porsche. And I just think these are really, really neat. It's a very unique looking shoe. I think the 6s and 7s are very identifiable. Like, you see them and you just know what they are right away. And I appreciate that. I think it's a solid colorway on a pretty dope silhouette. I've always loved this outsole. I think in these 3 colors, it looks really, really good. Most of it is just white and you get all those little circles. But then on the perimeter of the shoe, you get these hits of that icy blue rubber material. And on the inside of the shoe, you have a dark gray Jumpman. And I just think the design is dope. Then coming up to the midsole of the shoe, you can see that icy blue translucent material comes up to the midsole. It surrounds that visible air unit. And we have areas of painted foam. It's white, but then we also have this darker gray. I think they called that medium gray. And the paint actually looks pretty neat. Sometimes on GS pairs that tends to get a little bit sloppy, but it looks pretty good on this pair. I'd wear them. But then coming up to the base of the shoe, we get this, I don't know if it's synthetic. Yeah, it's synthetic looking at the edges of it. But we have this cool gray color. It's kind of like a nubuck or like a synthetic nubuck. But the color blocking is what you get for Carmine 6s or like the University Blue 6s. Basically, you could substitute any color in here for the base and have all these white leather overlays, and it would be that Carmine color blocking. But I think that cool gray and white go together like peas and carrots. You know, I think these things came out really good. It's a classic look. I really like them. My favorite material on the shoe is this leather that they gave us for all these overlays. It's a really thick cut, which kind of surprised me, but it's really soft and it's got a lot of texture on it. It might be a little too much of a tumble on it, but it still looks good. I don't think that there's any reflective behind these perforations like we get sometimes, and I do always like those little hits of reflective. On the back, you've got a gray Jumpman and some air branding embroidered onto there. Up near the ankle, you have those pods that we get on all Jordan 6s. For the tongue, it's kind of like a neoprene type material, and it's white down at the base. But then we've got that shield like we always get. It's got a snap that holds it on, and you can tie your shoes and then tuck it in behind there. But we've got flat white laces, and at the top we get a lace lock in that darker gray color with a white Jumpman on there. And then I've always been a fan of the top of these tongues too. It's got this nice gray color and some Air Jordan branding there at the top, but it's got these cutouts that you can kind of grab to pull your tongue up, and I've always thought that was neat looking. Our sock liner is just kind of that fuzzy kind of fleece feeling material, and it's a darker gray than what we have for the base of the shoe, but it kind of matches the tongue and then the paint down here on the midsole as well. Overall, I think it's a pretty dope shoe. It's not a must cop for me. It's not one that I think like, oh, I missed on this and I gotta be on the lookout for another pair. It's not one that I feel like I must have. I already have maybe 2 or 3 pairs of 6s right now, and a 6 isn't one that I wear that regularly. I have the Carmines, and I think right now in my collection, that's the only 6 that I really feel like I have to have. I think I do like these more than what I like the University Blue 6s, and most people probably disagree with that. That might go over like a fart in church, but I think that this silhouette wears this cool gray and white better than what it wears at University Blue. It looks like a classic shoe. I mean, this does have the look of a shoe that could have come out back in the early 90s, and I always like that. But anyhow, that was a pretty quick look at these. There's really not too much to go over. I didn't get my size. I won't really be chasing my size because there's so much heat coming from the Jordan brand soon. And I hope that I can get a pair of the Pirate Black Yeezys, but that's a whole other topic. But let me know what you all think about these. Let me know if you picked up a pair or if you passed on this release. I appreciate y'all watching, and I hope you have a great day. I'm out.